At Thanksgiving dinner, Mom smiled and said, "Thanks to your miscarriage, our bloodline stays pure." Everyone laughed, but none of them knew it would be their last family gathering. That Thanksgiving, my mother's obsession with a pure bloodline became a chilling prophecy. It didn't just unravel our family, it tore through everything I believed in, revealing a betrayal so deep it still takes my breath away. The frost-covered garden outside my window sparkled in the crisp Minnesota morning. Another Thanksgiving was here, but for me, this year felt different. My career as a senior accountant was solid, and my marriage to David, my incredibly supportive husband, was my rock. My only persistent strain was my mother, Martha. "Amy, are you ready?" David called, suitcase in hand. A crucial business trip meant he'd miss Thanksgiving. Mom was furious. "I can't believe you're putting work before family," I mimicked her, the words dripping with her usual disapproval. Mom, an influential pillar of the First Presbyterian Church, reigned as the community's matriarch. For her, Thanksgiving was a grand display of our perfect lineage. She loved to say pure bloodline, a testament to our prestigious family's deep roots. But that phrase had taken on a cruel meaning for me. 2 years ago, after a long struggle, I had a miscarriage. Afterward, something shifted in Mom. While outwardly affectionate, I'd catch a fleeting glint of what seemed unsettlingly like relief in her eyes. Meanwhile, her devotion to my sister Linda's 5-year-old son, Tommy, intensified. Linda, a devoted housewife, lived by Mom's word. Her husband, John, an honest real estate owner, had recently confided his unease about Linda's increasingly strange behavior. David, sensing my tension, put his hand on my shoulder. "Are you okay?" I forced a smile. "Yes, don't worry, I'll handle it." He knew why I was worried, and why he felt guilty for leaving. As I walked him to the door, a cold wind snaked inside. Tomorrow, Mom's house would be packed with relatives: Linda, John, little Tommy. And Linda, she'd been acting so strangely, drawn to Adam Foster, the charismatic assistant pastor. Their connection felt unusually close. I sighed. Mother's perfect dinner party, elegant table settings, a grand white house. But beneath that polished veneer, something was crumbling. My accountant's intuition saw it. A significant truth was hidden, and its revelation was rushing toward us. What was about to happen might shatter our family, but some destinies, I realized, are just unavoidable. Thanksgiving morning dawned with a brutal Minnesota cold. Driving to Mom's, I tried to thaw the anxiety gripping my chest. Her grand white house, a landmark in Eden Prairie, already had cars lining the driveway. The moment I opened the door, Mom's voice, poised in navy and pearls, cut through the air. "Is David really not coming?" she accused. I ignored the sarcasm and headed to the kitchen. Aunt Carol and Cousin Jennifer were there, dutifully helping. The turkey was browning. Their eyes held that familiar look, pity and sympathy that had haunted me since the miscarriage. Then, the doorbell. Linda's family. "Tommy, come to Grandma." Mom practically lunged, sweeping 5-year-old Tommy into her arms. Linda stood behind them, a smug satisfaction on her face. John, however, looked visibly uncomfortable, his gaze briefly meeting mine, an unspoken plea. The living room's small talk was a dull hum of church gossip, utterly hollow. Linda, I noticed, deliberately avoided any mention of Adam, the assistant pastor. Finally, dinner. The table, set with Lenox china, gleamed under candlelight. The golden brown turkey sat majestic. Mom, dignified as ever, led the prayer. "And we thank you for all the blessings bestowed upon us. Amen." Then, the carving began. Mom, with practiced grace, wielded the heirloom silver knife. And that's when it started. "Amy, always so focused on work," Aunt Carol began, "don't you think it's time to find a new purpose in life?" Jennifer chimed in, "God sometimes gives us trials for a reason." My miscarriage, they didn't need to say it. My heart sank. But Mom wasn't done. She looked up, a strangely cheerful smile on her face as she delicately carved. "Well, your miscarriage did save our bloodline from being tainted." The words hit me, a freezing shockwave. The table erupted in forced, cruel laughter. And then, the decisive blow. Linda, stroking Tommy's head, smiled broadly. After all, a real grandchild is all we need. Time stopped. I slowly put down my fork. I stood up. Every eye at that table was on me. Amy, Mom's voice trembled slightly. Please excuse me for a moment, I said, calm, firm, even as a storm raged inside. Then I walked out. Behind me, confused murmurs rose. I went to the living room, staring out the huge window. Snow danced silently in the darkness, strangely calming. Moments later, John appeared. His face was a mask of anxiety and raw determination. Amy, I need to talk to you. His voice was filled with fear and resolve. Something's wrong with Linda. I just nodded. He lowered his voice. She's been meeting with the young assistant pastor frequently. And he let out a ragged sigh. I want to get a DNA test for Tommy. Will you help me? In that instant, every piece clicked. The vague anxiety solidified into chilling certainty. My accountant's mind was already piecing together the evidence. I understand, I said quietly. The truth, I knew, was about to explode this Thanksgiving night, changing our family forever. It was a destiny none of us could avoid. 3 days after that awful Thanksgiving, I sat hunched over my computer in my home office. David was still away. John had ordered a DNA test kit, but I had other methods. My accountant's brain thrives on patterns. I started with the church's accounting records, focusing on Adam Foster's appointment. There it was, unusual expenditures. Every month, a fixed, suspicious amount was transferred from the church's charitable funds to a specific, unnamed account. Not a fortune, but the regularity, it screamed hidden activity. Amy, what are you investigating? My mother's voice made me jump. I slammed the screen shut. She stood in the doorway, her eyes sharp. Just work, Mother. Preparing for the church audit. She seemed to accept it, but doubt lingered. Your behavior at Thanksgiving was truly disrespectful, she scolded. Think of the family's reputation. Especially now that Linda is about to take on an important position. Adam Foster had recommended Linda for youth department head. Why Linda? My frown deepened. Once she left, I tracked Linda's digital footprints, credit card usage, phone records, social media. The pattern was undeniable. Every Wednesday, Linda claimed church meetings, but nothing was on the official schedule. Then I found it, decisive proof. The Grayson, a modest business hotel. Linda's credit card had been making regular payments there for 6 months. John, I found something. I called my brother-in-law. Every Wednesday, Linda's been going to a specific hotel. And part of those payments are coming from the church's charitable funds. I heard his ragged sigh. That's not all, I pressed. When Tommy was born, there's a high possibility Linda already knew Adam. He was doing a short internship at the church then. It's in the records. A deafening silence fell. We might not even need to wait for the DNA test results, I whispered. John didn't answer, but his heavy breathing on the phone told me everything. For another week, the evidence mounted. Hotel reservations, restaurant receipts, anonymous transfers between Linda and Adam funds disguised as church charity. Adam, the assistant pastor, was using church money to maintain his affair. Then, an unexpected discovery. I stumbled across my mother's financial misdeeds. Martha Anderson, the pillar of the community, had been subtly siphoning off church funds for personal use for years. Trivial amounts, yes, but damning. This could be a powerful weapon against Mom. But could I use it? My heart wrestled. The turning point arrived abruptly. Linda showed up at my house, her face a mask of anger and fear. Amy, you're investigating me, aren't you? She accused. Adam told me someone's been examining the church records. I just stared at her. Her eyes darted, filled with panic. Please, Amy, keep quiet, she pleaded. If this comes out, Mother will. The church will. Tell me honestly, Linda. I cut her off, quiet but firm. Tell me everything. And she did. Meeting Adam 5 years ago, their secret romance. The terror of pregnancy. And Mom's swift, ruthless decision to marry Linda off to John, covering it all up. Does Mother know? I asked. Linda buried her face in her hands. Yes. She covered everything up. For the family's reputation. At that moment, my phone rang. The hospital. Miss Anderson, your mother has been rushed to emergency. We suspect a stroke. After I hung up, Linda's face was ashen. We rushed to the hospital. Mom was in intensive care. Church officials were there, and yes, Adam Foster. The doctor explained, Mom had collapsed at church, overwhelmed by an anonymous letter of accusation detailing her misappropriation of funds, and, devastatingly, Adam and Linda's relationship. Who? Linda stammered. Outside, snow began to fall again, silently, as if to blanket the brutal truths about to unfold. In the waiting room of Fairview Southdale, snow fell against the deep darkness. The rhythmic hum of machines from the ICU was the only sound. Mom's condition was stable, the doctor assured us, but after effects were a strong possibility. Let's have a family meeting, Linda whispered. Linda, John, David, who'd rushed back, and I sat. Adam had already been ushered away. Then John spoke, his voice heavy, broken. The DNA test results are in. I held my breath. Linda's face went utterly white. David looked at me confused. Tommy, John choked. He's not my child. The silence was suffocating, filled with shattered illusions. Linda, I turned to my sister, my voice quiet, firm. Tell us everything. About Mother. About Adam. She sat motionless, but slowly, she lowered her hands, her eyes red. 5 years ago, Linda's confession began haltingly. Adam, the seminary student. Secret rendezvous. The panic of pregnancy. And Mother's brutal decision to rush her into marriage with John, covering it all up. Mom knew everything. Mother knew everything? David interjected, incredulous. Yes, Linda nodded, tears flowing. She covered everything up to protect the family's reputation. She even paid Adam hush money. With church funds. My voice turned cold. Linda nodded again. Her confession perfectly matched my investigation. Mother's misuse of church funds, hush money, all to protect her precious family reputation. What were you planning? John's voice, trembling with furious anger, cut through the air. How long were you going to continue this lie? Linda stammered, Mother, reputation. Just then, a commotion. Nurses wheeled Mom's bed back to her room. Consciousness returned, but her right side was paralyzed. You can visit now, a nurse told us. When it was my turn, Mom's eyes fluttered open. Amy, her voice, devoid of authority, was thin. In my bag, I found her handbag, the church's bank book, and a notebook detailing transactions with Adam. Burn everything, she rasped. I can't, I answered, quiet but firm. Let's put an end to all the secrets. That evening, the church's board of elders convened an emergency meeting. Adam Foster's illicit relationship and the blatant misappropriation of church funds were laid bare. The outcome was swift. Adam was immediately dismissed. Mother standing in the church? Gone. Linda? Banished from the church community. The news exploded. Local and national headlines screamed Scandal rocks prestigious church, truth behind elder family. Our lives laid bare. A week later, we discussed Mom's care. A nursing home, the social worker suggested. Linda erupted. You're planning to abandon Mother? Face reality, Linda, I said, calm but unwavering. Mother needs professional care. And this decision is for all of us. It was settled. On discharge day, Mom stopped me. Her paralysis was still evident. Amy, you might have been right. I just held her thin hand. But she pressed on, try to understand my feelings, about protecting the family's reputation. I do understand, I said quietly. But reputation built on lies will eventually crumble. Tears glistened in her eyes. It was the most honest emotion I'd ever seen from her. That night, David and I had dinner alone. You did well, he said, holding my hand. What now? Outside, the snow covered old traces. But beneath it, I felt new shoots stirring. I'm thinking of looking for a new house, I smiled. A new life. Somewhere away from this town. David nodded, his eyes overflowing with understanding and love. Yes, this wasn't an end. This was a new beginning. Because true happiness demands the price of truth. A year. A whole year has passed since that unforgettable Thanksgiving. David and I found our new home in western Minnesota, a comfortable tower drive from Eden Prairie. The perfect distance, I think. Today, I'm roasting a turkey. Outside, gentle snow falls, a stark contrast to last year's bitter cold. Need help? David's voice, warm and familiar, came from behind me, his arms wrapped gently around my shoulders. Thanks, but I'm fine, I smiled. On the table, adoption agency papers lay neatly. Our journey to creating a family, a new kind of family, was steadily moving forward. It feels nostalgic, I murmured. This time last year, our lives had been utterly swept away. Mother now spends her days in a luxury nursing home. Stripped of her former dignity, she's finally facing herself. During my last visit, she looked at me with unusual candor. Amy, I might have been wrong. Her paralysis is improving with rehab, but the wounds in her heart are raw. I was so concerned about appearances, she confessed, her eyes showing a hint of regret I'd never seen. I lost sight of what was truly important. Her view from the nursing home window symbolized her new, quieter life. Linda's fall was far more dramatic. The divorce was finalized, John gained full custody of Tommy, and Linda can only see her son once a month, supervised. Her banishment from the church community stripped her of all social foundations. Just last week, she appeared at our new home, gaunt and desperate. I need to borrow money. Her relationship with Adam was long over. He paid no child support. I'm sorry, Linda, I told her, quietly but firmly. I won't clean up your messes anymore. She left in tears, a painful shadow of the vibrant sister she once was. Meanwhile, John has embraced a beautiful new path. He's pouring all his energy into Tommy's education, accepting that he isn't Tommy's biological father, but approaching him with deep, unconditional love. Amy, I can't thank you enough, he told me recently. Thank you for revealing the truth. Tommy is thriving, healthy, surrounded by his father's unwavering love. Seeing that, it brings me such comfort. The church turmoil is slowly resolving itself. A new assistant pastor is in place, and the misappropriated funds are gradually being returned. Yes, with Mom's nursing home costs, our finances aren't exactly flush. But these are the choices we made. The turkey's starting to smell good. David's voice pulled me back. The savory aroma wafted from the oven. This year's Thanksgiving will be a quiet celebration, just the two of us. Our table, set with new dishes, isn't extravagant, but it feels like home. It warms my heart. Hey, David said, looking at my profile. Are you happy? I paused, then slowly, deeply nodded. Yes, we're truly happy now. In the real sense. Happiness built on lies and deception? It will always crumble. That was the brutal lesson my mother learned. And through that very pain, David and I found a new, authentic happiness. Outside, the snow continues to fall, gently embracing the earth, announcing a new season. And like those shoots that will sprout in spring, our lives, too, will move forward. Slowly, but surely. Oh, by the way, David said, picking up the adoption papers, a mischievous glint in his eye. Next Thanksgiving, we might just be celebrating as a family of 3. I squeezed his hand, my heart overflowing. A new form of family. A genuine bond, completely unrelated to bloodlines or superficial appearances. Yes, this is the life we chose. Our new life, found by embracing truth and letting go of all the deception. In the oven, the turkey browned to a perfect, golden hue, its aroma not of bitter memories like last year, but of a future filled with hope.